You've been told many times not to cast the golf club, and then you've also heard someone say you need to throw the club head to create speed. And you're thinking, aren't those the same thing? And you're not alone. But once I changed my mindset and said I need to throw the club head, my golf swing became free. I hear this every single day from golfers who are trying to do the right thing. I'm Ryan McGinnis with Ryan McGinnis Golf, and on the lesson tee at Turning Stone Resort Casino, one of the most common things I hear, I do not want to cast the golf club, which I would agree with. But when I tell them to throw the club head, they kind of take back a little bit and go, wait a minute, aren't those the same thing? Well, throughout this video, I'm going to clearly define what casting is and what throwing the club head is, and why throwing the club head will free up your golf swing and allow you to make consistent contact every time.
Something that may surprise you, but I firmly believe, is that it's impossible to release the club at the top of the downswing too soon, as long as you move to your left side.
In one of my recent videos, I talked about the idea of throwing the club head. And to me, that has changed my golf game. I used to be someone who would try to pull the handle, hold the angle in my left wrist as long as I could, and then release it late, which it worked. And I think the most important thing is, in this entire video, is you have to understand there are many ways to swing the club. There are a lot of golfers who take this angle and then they decrease it and then they release it later in the bottom. There's golfers who have this angle and it stays the same and they just go down and then they release it at the bottom. But there's also golfers who have this angle and they slowly increase that angle and then release it at the bottom. All of them work. You have to decide which one works for you. What allows you the freedom to just make perfect contact and be consistent. So I think it's important that we define the two. We have casting and we have throwing the club head. Casting is when this lead angle releases early at a high rate of speed, okay? And that part is important. So if this angle releases early at a high rate of speed, that would be casting. If this angle releases early at a high rate of speed and my hands stay up or work away from target, that would be casting. And finally, when those two occur, the club head passes my hands at some point in that downswing, that would be casting. So let's recap that. That angle in my left wrist increases at a high rate of speed early. My hands are staying up or working away from target, and the club head has passed my hands at some point in that downswing. Now, what is throwing the club head? So let's go back to the angle in the left wrist. What I like to see from most golfers, that angle is slowly increasing, going from 85 to, let's assume, 90 degrees by the time it gets down in front of your right leg. My hands are working down towards the ground at a high rate of speed. That is the most important part right there. So now when I combine those two, my hands get right in front of my right leg when the shaft hits parallel, which means the club head is behind my hands. That is throwing the club head, feeling like I'm taking this club head and I am throwing it down to the ground. Those are two total different movements, and really it's coming down to timing, so how fast that angle is releasing, and direction in which the hands are moving. So now that we know the difference between casting and throwing the club head, let's dive deeper into throwing the club head and why I like to see that from most of my students. And the reason I say most is because I don't believe that the golf swing is a one-size-fits-all. I have students who rotate, who move to their lead side a lot. And for them, they might have to either hold the angle or that angle might decrease. It's okay. So the golf swing is not a one size fits all. That is very, very important. So for you, you have to decide how well is your body moving, what allows you to be free in the golf swing, and what allows you to develop consistent contact to see the ball fly the way you want it to. For most golfers, what do you want? You want speed and you want freedom. To me, the easiest way to capture both is to throw the club head. I have said the angle between my left wrist or my left arm, the wrist and the shaft increases at a slow rate of speed. So by the time your hands hit right in front of your right leg, the shaft is very close to parallel. I also said that my hands work quickly down. I'm feeling like I'm snapping this shaft in half. You look at some of the greatest players to ever play, Tiger Woods, Jack Nicklaus. They talk about we have to move to our lead side and we have to turn through the golf shot. That's a non-negotiable. Both of them have said you cannot release the golf club early enough if you move to your lead side and turn through the golf shot. That's really what it is. You're really just getting the golf club in a point where you can just freely move through the golf shot. So in drill number 1, we're gonna get into the lowering of the hands at a fast rate of speed and feeling like we're throwing the club head into the ground. And it's very simple. Take a golf club, you can use an alignment stick, you just need to make a golf swing. And from here, if I do this correctly, I'm going to move to my lead side, I'm gonna start moving and turning through the golf shot, but I'm gonna take this golf club and I'm gonna throw it into the ground. If I did it wrong and casted the golf club, I would get up here and this would do this. We don't want to do that, right? So we have to throw the club into the ground, lowering my hands at a fast rate of speed. So we're going to do this 10 times before a shot. We're going to make our backswing. We're going to lower our hands at a fast rate of speed. We're going to try to throw the club head directly into the ground. And when I do that, my club head or my club should hit the ground somewhere back here. So we're taking our hands down quickly, club head working down, building speed down towards the ground. Make our backswing. So drill number 2, we're just gonna build off that feeling. We're going to make our backswing. We're making the same motion we just made in drill 1. We're creating hand speed early, downward, throwing the club into the ground, and we're gonna stop when our hands hit parallel, or the shaft hits parallel to the ground. My hands go right in front of my right leg. From this position, all you've done so far is you've lowered and threw the club head into the ground, and you've moved to your lead side. From here, turn and just chip the ball downrange. When those hands come down and we're throwing the club head down, we're working our hands down at a high rate of speed, our hands, like we've said, get in front of our right leg. Now, the measurement I want you to think about is the distance from the club head to the ball. Our goal at this point is to make that distance as big as it can be. I'm not doing this because that would mean my hands never got in front of my right leg. I am maximizing the distance from the ball to the club head at this position. This is the perfect distance, and think about why that distance matters. That club head now has more time or more distance to whip into the ball, create more speed, and you'll see your ball go further. But we're making our backswing, we're throwing the club head down, right? Hands are in front of our right leg, shaft is parallel. Turn. So really good drill to kind of take 2 measurements. Can I get in front of my right leg with my hands? Meaning I've thrown the club head down, I have increased the rate of my wrist, the rate in which that angle increases slowly, move to my lead side, and then is that club head as far away from the ball as it can be. This is like an added bonus. If we're good, turn through the golf shot and watch your ball go 30 yards. So throughout the video, we clearly defined what casting is and what throwing the club head is, right? Casting is when we release that angle in our left wrist at a high rate of speed early in the downswing. Throwing is when I release that angle at a low rate of speed. And the most important kicker is what our hands are doing. When I cast, my hands are either not moving or they're moving away from target. When I throw, my hands are working down towards the ground very quickly. That's important. That's our speed generator. And finally, when we throw, the club head never really passes our hands. When we cast, we know that it happens early. So as golfers, it's important to understand your golf swing. It's important to make sure we know how our body moves so that we can decide for ourselves, do I need the feeling of throwing the club head? Or do I need the feeling of just maintaining the angle and working my hands down? The greats say you can't release early enough as long as you move to your lead side and turn through the golf shot. Remember that. If you need help with your golf swing, I would love to have the opportunity to help you. If you want to work with me in person here at Turning Stone Resort Casino, send me an email. My email is located down below in the description. There is nothing more valuable than an in-person lesson. Being able to see you live and really get to move you in positions is going to help you that much faster. But if you want to do it online, I offer that as well. And I would love to have that opportunity to help you in your golfing journey.